Some things on the internet are not meant to be found. They lurk in the shadows, waiting.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, and thank you for listening when most people are asleep. At this hour, the world feels quiet, but some stories don't rest with it. These are the moments when roads feel longer, shadows feel closer, and silence feels heavy. So dim the lights, relax your mind, and listen carefully, because tonight's stories come from places most people only pass through. And some roads remember who listens. I used to think the road was empty at night. That was before it started watching back. Before I realized the silence between mile markers wasn't silence at all, just something holding its breath. If you're listening right now, chances are you're tired, maybe half asleep, letting my voice ride shotgun while the world outside your window blurs into darkness. I need you awake for this part. Truckers learn to love the night. The steady hum of tires, the glow of dashboards, the illusion that nothing bad can survive under open stars. It feels safe because it feels familiar. That's how the road gets close to you. It waits until your guard drops, until your thoughts wander, until you stop noticing how long it's been since you passed another set of headlights. I shouldn't be telling these stories. A few of them were taken down the first time I shared them. A few people reached out privately and asked me to stop, not angrily, just scared. They said some things are better left moving, better left unremembered. But the road doesn't like secrets. It leaks them out through people like me. Every story you're about to hear came from a different driver, a different stretch of asphalt, a different year. Yet they fit together too cleanly to be coincidence. Same rules, same warnings, same mistakes repeated by people who thought they were alone. If this were just about monsters, or ghosts, or cheap scares, I'd let you drift off and forget it by morning. But this is about patterns. About a presence that notices routines, memorizes exits, and waits patiently. The first time I learned the road lies, I was just trying to help someone standing on the shoulder, and I still remember how calm everything felt right before it went wrong. That moment is where every story here truly begins, whether you believe me yet or not tonight. That's the first thing he said. Not hello, not thank you, just that, spoken softly, like we were already in the middle of a conversation. I'd slowed down because it was raining and he was standing too close to the shoulder, head down, thumb half raised. Normal enough. I cracked the passenger window and asked where he was headed. He named a town I'd passed an hour earlier. I told him he'd missed his stop. He smiled, slow and careful. I do that sometimes. I unlocked the door. That was my mistake. He climbed in without shaking the rain off his jacket, without looking around, without buckling up. He sat upright, hands folded in his lap, eyes fixed forward. The cab smelled like wet asphalt and something old. I pulled back onto the highway and tried to ignore the quiet stretching between us. After a few miles, I noticed he hadn't moved. Not even a little. No shifting. No nervous tapping. His chest didn't rise. I glanced over, expecting to catch him staring, but his eyes were wide open, unblinking, reflecting the dashboard lights like glass marbles. You good? I asked. Yes, he said immediately. Too immediate. This is fine. Minutes passed. Maybe more. The road hummed. Rain faded to mist. I became painfully aware of every blink I made, every breath I took. He didn't return the favor. Not once. I rolled down my window, pretending it was too warm, just to see if the cold air would make him react. It didn't. When I finally worked up the nerve to tell him he could hop out at the next exit, I turned fully toward him. The seat was empty. No door had opened. No rush of air. No sound at all. Just an imprint in the fabric, slowly rising back to its original shape, like the truck itself was exhaling. I pulled over and sat there until dawn, convincing myself it was exhaustion, stress, imagination. That worked until another driver told me the same story, word for word. That's when I learned this wasn't isolated. Truckers talk. First heard about mile marker 217 from a driver named Carl, the kind of guy who logged everything. Fuel receipts, routes, weather, even his moods. He swore the marker appeared just after a long downhill stretch, a plain green sign, slightly crooked, glowing too bright in the dark. The problem was simple. It wasn't on any map. Carl said curiosity slowed him. Fatigue finished the job. He pulled over, hazards blinking, engine idling, thinking 5 minutes of rest wouldn't hurt. When he woke up, the sun was rising and his logbook showed a 4-hour gap he couldn't explain. That story alone wouldn't scare anyone. Truckers lose time. That's rule 1. Rule 2 is quieter. You don't stop at markers you can't prove exist. Over the years, more stories surfaced. Different rigs. Same marker. Some drivers swore the numbers were scratched, not printed. Others said the sign whispered when headlights hit it. Everyone agreed on one thing. When you stopped there, the road took something. One man lost his sense of direction. He could drive fine, but never remembered where he'd been. Another forgot his daughter's face, but remembered her birthday perfectly. Carl forgot why he loved the road in the first place, and that scared him the most. What none of them could explain was what happened during the missing hours. No dreams, no images, just a blank space that felt occupied, like a room someone had just left. Carl broke down after his third encounter. He admitted the marker wasn't always 217. Sometimes it changed. Sometimes it waited. Dispatch denied it existed. State records showed no maintenance logs. Yet CB chatter would go quiet whenever someone mentioned 217, like the channel itself was listening. Some drivers swore the marker drifted closer each year, inching forward as if learning traffic patterns. Others believed it followed specific people. The only proof was absence, the hours nobody could reclaim, the certainty that whatever waited there preferred to remain unnamed. After that, every mile sign felt suspect. I memorized numbers, exits, distances, terrified of noticing something new. Because once you see it, the road remembers you. And remembering, I learned later, is how it invites you back. One driver ignored that warning completely, chasing answers instead of sleep, and what he broke was far worse than a rule. He never finished telling me what followed. I wish I hadn't listened at all. The CB is supposed to keep you sane. That's what they tell rookies. Late at night, when the road stretches thin and your thoughts get loud, you flick it on and hear proof that someone else is out there. Breaker 19. Anyone got eyes on the wreck past exit 40? Copy that. Road's clear. Appreciate it, brother. That's how it always starts. Normal. Comforting. Then, just after midnight, the tone shifts. The first time it happened to me, a voice cut in between channels, sharp and close. You still thinking about pulling over? It asked. I hadn't said a word. I hadn't even moved my foot. I laughed it off and replied, You talking to me? Static. Then, softly, You always laugh when you're nervous. More voices joined. Too many. They spoke over each other, not shouting, just layering, repeating details no stranger should know. My name. My truck number. The song I'd skipped earlier because it reminded me of someone I don't call anymore. Slow down, one said. Speed up, another corrected. You won't miss it if you blink, a third whispered. I turned the volume down. The voices followed, growing clearer as the dial dropped, like they preferred being closer. They joked about way stations, complained about fuel prices, mimicked the easy cynicism truckers use to survive. It felt like listening to friends wearing my friends' voices. Then one of them said, You're about to see headlights where there shouldn't be any. 30 seconds later, a car shot across the median, spinning, missing my rig by inches before vanishing into the dark. No impact. I pulled over, shaking, and asked if anyone else heard that. The channel went dead. When it came back, a single voice replied, calm and familiar. "We'll talk again," it said, "when it's too late to change lanes." I shut the CB off completely after that. Drove the rest of the night in silence, convincing myself it was stress, coincidence, exhaustion. That worked until another driver told me he'd heard the same voices, same jokes, same predictions, right down to the phrasing. I keep my CB on low now, just enough to hear static breathe. Because even muted, sometimes it clicks by itself, like a throat being cleared. After that night, every crackle feels intentional, every pause loaded. I wonder how many of us are listening to the same voices right now, thinking we're alone, trusting a system designed for connection, not realizing something else learned how to use it first. It waits very patiently. Saw her first in Missouri, standing just beyond the cone of my headlights while rain stitched silver lines through the dark. She didn't wave, didn't step forward, didn't flag me down. She just watched, coat hanging straight, hair plastered to her face, feet planted where the shoulder dissolves into nothing. I slowed out of habit. That's the danger. Kindness trained into muscle memory. As I crept past, her head turned to follow me, smooth and deliberate, like she was tracking a slow animal. The mirrors caught her reflection for a second longer than they should have. Then she was gone, replaced by wet asphalt and the sound of my own breathing. I forgot about her by morning. I had deliveries, coffee, daylight. Normal life does that, scrubs the edges clean. 2 weeks later, in Arkansas, I saw her again. Same posture, same distance from the road, different rain. She looked closer this time, or maybe I was. I didn't stop. I didn't even brake. I stared straight ahead and told myself patterns are coincidence wearing confidence. At the next rest stop, another driver asked if I'd seen TH. I pulled over, shaking, and asked if anyone else heard that. The channel went dead. When it came back, a single voice replied, calm and familiar. "We'll talk again," it said, "when it's too late to change lanes." I shut the CB off completely after that. Drove the rest of the night in silence, convincing myself it was stress, coincidence, exhaustion. That worked until another driver told me he'd heard the same voices, same jokes, same predictions, right down to the phrasing. I keep my CB on low now, just enough to hear static breathe. Because even muted, sometimes it clicks by itself, like a throat being cleared. After that night, every crackle feels intentional, every pause loaded. I wonder how many of us are listening to the same voices right now, thinking we're alone, trusting a system designed for connection, not realizing something else learned how to use it first. It waits very patiently. Saw her first in Missouri, standing just beyond the cone of my headlights while rain stitched silver lines through the dark. She didn't wave, didn't step forward, didn't flag me down. She just watched, coat hanging straight, hair plastered to her face, feet planted where the shoulder dissolves into nothing. I slowed out of habit. That's the danger. Kindness trained into muscle memory. As I crept past, her head turned to follow me, smooth and deliberate, like she was tracking a slow animal. The mirrors caught her reflection for a second longer than they should have. Then she was gone, replaced by wet asphalt and the sound of my own breathing. I forgot about her by morning. I had deliveries, coffee, daylight. Normal life does that, scrubs the edges clean. 2 weeks later, in Arkansas, I saw her again. Same posture, same distance from the road, different rain. She looked closer this time, or maybe I was. I didn't stop. I didn't even brake. I stared straight ahead and told myself patterns are coincidence wearing confidence. At the next rest stop, another driver asked if I'd seen TH. I learned to keep my hands still after that, knuckles white, mouth shut, afraid even a laugh might echo wrong and wake whatever listens between engines, wind, and human habits better left untested on empty nights like that forever. That's when I stopped joking. Some rules aren't written because writing them makes them curious. Honking at night is how you let the road know you're willing to talk, and it always answers in its own language. I never planned to stop there. None of us ever do. The rest stop just appears, lit too evenly, like a photograph pasted onto the dark. Clean bathrooms, fresh coffee, 3 trucks already parked. Normal enough that your body relaxes before your brain asks questions. Inside, the same 4 people sat at the tables every time someone new walked in. A woman stirring a cup she never drank. A man laughing at a joke nobody finished. A kid scrolling a phone with a cracked screen that never changed. They all looked up together and nodded, like hosts expecting guests. I slept for what felt like 20 minutes. When I stepped back outside, the sky hadn't moved. Same stars, same trucks, same faces, now outside, mid-conversation, repeating lines I'd heard before. Roads rough tonight. The man said again, same inflection, same laugh at the end. I asked how to get back on the highway. They blinked, confused, and asked how I'd gotten there. Nobody remembered arriving. Not me. Not them. Logs showed nothing. Watches disagreed. My phone battery drained without time passing. Hours slipped sideways. Not forward. Every attempt to leave curved back to the same lot. Every exit sign pointed inward. Panic burned hot, then cooled into something dull and manageable, like the place wanted us calm. People argue whether it's a shared hallucination or a trap built into the road itself. I stopped caring about labels. What mattered was how the place studied us. Each loop smoothed rough edges, erased urgency, replaced fear with routine. Conversations became scripts. Movements synchronized. Hunger faded. Even anger dulled. I caught myself correcting newcomers, telling them to relax, to sit, to wait. That scared me more than being lost, because wanting others to stay meant the rest stop was already inside me, rearranging priorities, editing instincts, sanding down the parts that still wanted escape. No clocks worked, but exhaustion accumulated, heavy and misleading. Sleep came without rest, dreams without images. Waking felt optional. Somewhere between loops, I understood why nobody remembered arriving. Arrival requires direction, and direction had been carefully removed. It made staying feel reasonable, safe even, comfortable in place. One driver swore he escaped once, said he drove straight through a wall of light and woke up miles away with a receipt dated tomorrow. He wouldn't say what he left behind, just cried and refused to sleep. I started recognizing myself in the loop. The way my answers shortened, the way my posture matched theirs, the way welcoming smiles felt practiced, not chosen. That's when I realized the stop wasn't broken. It was functioning. Eventually, I woke up driving, highway rushing beneath me like nothing happened. No memory of leaving, no proof I'd been there. Except sometimes, when I pull into a rest stop at night, I catch someone staring like they recognize me. The manifest said temperature-controlled equipment. That was it. No contents listed, no hazard codes, just a red stamp across the bottom that read "Innoin Disclosure" in block letters. Dispatch told me not to worry. They always say that. The trailer was sealed tight, newer than my rig, humming softly like a refrigerator working overtime. At first, the movement felt normal, shifting weight on turns, suspension settling, the kind of thing you stop noticing after a few miles. Then it shifted against the rhythm. I felt it during a long straight stretch, no wind, no grate. Some tea. I focused on the road, but my mirrors betrayed me. The trailer's sides flexed, just slightly, bowing outward, then relaxing. In time with a sound I couldn't hear but felt in my teeth. In, out, In, out. My hands went numb on the wheel. At the next checkpoint, I asked for an inspection. The officer tapped the trailer, frowned, and said it felt warm. Too warm. His scanner glitched. Dispatch came back on, sharp this time, and ordered me to roll. Do not open the cargo, they said. You are not authorized. The paperwork updated mid-drive. Same route. Same destination. New note added. Do not stop unless instructed. The stamp was darker, ink pressed so hard it tore the page. Non-disclosure again, like a warning aimed at me instead of the cargo. The breathing got faster at night. When I slowed, it slowed. When I sped up, it followed. Once, just once, it knocked from the inside. 3 careful impacts, spaced like a question. I never got confirmation of delivery. The trailer was unhooked while I slept. No signature. No goodbye. My pay hit my account early with a bonus labeled inconvenience. After that, I noticed how often companies use the same language. Normal. Safe. Classified. How many drivers hear something wrong and are told it's fine? How many loads aren't meant to be understood, only moved? Whatever I hauled knew it was going somewhere specific, and it knew I noticed. That's when I started paying attention to the patterns behind the paperwork. Dispatch never asked if I was okay, only if I remembered the route correctly, as if forgetting would be safer, as if knowing too much was the real liability, not what was breathing behind me late in the morning that I started getting calls late at night, the kind you ignore because you know they'll wait. But that night, the voice on the other end wasn't reading a manifest or telling me about traffic. It used my name, my full name, not the one on the rig, not the one I used for logbooks, my name from childhood, the one I hadn't heard. Do you remember your first bike ride, James? The voice asked. My heart thudded in time with the question, and I blinked, staring at the empty cab around me. The CB static hissed like it was laughing. Yes, I stammered. Good. Keep that memory close. You'll need it soon. The words made no sense. I had no idea who was calling. Dispatch had never been this familiar. They didn't know my past. They didn't know fears buried under years of highway miles. And yet, the voice rattled off details like my mother's lullaby, the creak behind our old house, the scraped knee from a fall I'd hidden from everyone. Do you still check the mirrors twice before sleep? The voice continued. Do you hear the road when it's empty? I wanted to hang up, slam the radio off, pretend it was just a trick of exhaustion. But curiosity stayed my hands. The road had taught me to listen, even when it made no sense. Then came the warning. Some things are better left unnoticed. Pay attention too closely, and you'll find yourself answering for what you hear. I asked the voice who it was. It chuckled softly, like it was amused by my ignorance. I'm always here, James. Not me exactly. The road remembers names. It learns patterns. You've only just realized it. I've been driving long enough to notice repetition, the same exits, the same rest stops, the same strange signals. But I never imagined the road could learn me. Not like this. Not personally. Now, when I hear my name over a crackle, I flinch. Not out of fear, exactly, but recognition. Recognition that I am being watched, cataloged, remembered. That the road isn't just asphalt and signs. It's alive, absorbing details, testing boundaries, studying habits. Have you ever noticed a place that seems to know exactly how you think? The road can do that. And if you listen too closely, if you linger on the edges, it might call your name too. Only, by the time you answer, it could be too late. I found the town at 3:11 a.m. when hunger outweighed caution. Warm lights spilled across the highway like an invitation, diners and storefronts glowing as if they'd been waiting. The sign had a name I didn't recognize, painted in friendly colors, no warnings, no graffiti. I turned in without thinking, relieved to see people moving, laughing, existing. They welcomed me like a regular. Coffee already poured. Food arriving before I ordered. A waitress called me Han and asked if I was still running the same routes. I laughed it off, told myself small towns talk. That's what they do. The air smelled like bread and rain, comforting enough to make me forget the hour. But there were no clocks. Not on the walls, not on phones. My signal vanished the moment I parked, replaced by a strange calm, like time had decided to rest. Outside, every street curved back toward the center, looping gently, deliberately. No matter how far I walked, the same faces passed me, smiling with a patience that felt rehearsed. Someone mentioned seeing me before. Not tonight. Before. They asked if I liked it better this way, without the noise of distance, without the pressure to leave. I realized then that nobody talked about mornings. No schedules. No sunrise that I tried to find the highway. Each road narrowed, softened, then returned me to the diner. The people never blocked me. They didn't need to. Hospitality did the work for them, wrapping dread in warmth, convincing me staying was a kindness I owed them. When I finally drove out, it happened all at once. Lights vanished in my mirrors like they'd been switched off. The radio snapped back to static. My phone buzzed with missed notifications, time catching up violently. Daylight crept in too fast, revealing nothing where the town had been. Just trees. Just asphalt. In my side mirror, for half a second, I saw headlights behind me that matched my speed perfectly, warm and patient, following like they knew where I was going, and like they'd been there before. I didn't slow down. I didn't look back again. But the feeling stayed, a quiet certainty riding with me, seat warm, breath steady. Whatever that town was, it didn't need roads to travel. It only needed recognition. The more you remember it, the clearer it becomes, sharper, closer. I know that now because sometimes, late at night, I smell fresh bread where there shouldn't be any, and I know someone learned my route. And they seem very patient. Patient enough to wait for me. Until I turn in again. Someday soon, they used to just stand there. At first, the shadows were background noise, tricks of headlights and exhaustion. Figures at the edge of vision, tall smudges that vanished when you focused. You learned to ignore them the same way you ignore your own reflection at night. Then one of them waved. It happened on a straight stretch of road I'd driven 100 times. No rain, no fog, no excuse. A shape peeled itself from the darkness near the tree line and lifted an arm. Slow, casual, friendly. I stared, waiting for it to dissolve. It didn't. I raised my hand without thinking, a stupid reflex, the same motion you give another driver passing by. The shadow's arm bent at the elbow and returned the gesture perfectly, mirroring my timing, my hesitation. After that, they changed. They began stepping closer to the shoulder, turning their heads when trucks passed, leaning forward, curious. Some waved too early, some waved late. A few practiced, like children copying adults. Each night, the responses got better. Truckers started talking about it in private messages and half-deleted posts. Don't acknowledge them, one wrote. They're learning faster now. Another claimed they followed his rig with their eyes, counting blinks. I tested it once, against my better judgment. I nodded at a shadow standing near a mile marker. It nodded back, sharper this time, confident. My stomach dropped. Something clicked into place, like a lock finding its groove. The worst part isn't being seen. It's being understood. The shadows began choosing who they responded to. Veterans first. People with routines. People who watched the road the same way every night. They adapted to habits, to gestures, to fear. Passive observation turned into conversation without words. There was a forum thread about them once. Pages of stories, timestamps, blurry photos. Then it vanished overnight. No archive, no explanation. just silence where warnings used to be. That's when I realized the shadows weren't practicing waving. They were practicing recognition. And once they know you, really know you, they don't need to stand at the roadside anymore. I found a cached screenshot weeks later, saved by someone who didn't sleep. One line stuck with me. If they answer you, stop driving. I couldn't. None of us could. The road demands attention, and attention teaches it. Every night since, I keep my hands still, because waving back feels like signing something I'll never read. That lesson spreads quietly, faster than rumors, carried by headlights, habits, and the long memory of it starts the same way every time. Darkness beyond the cab, tires humming over asphalt that seems endless, nothing but the night pressing against the windshield. You feel tired, eyes heavy, hands gripping the wheel a little too tight. Safe, comfortable. That's the trick. Then it changes. The road narrows. Signs blur. Mile markers count backward, forward, sideways, like numbers floating in a current you can't swim against. Other rigs appear, sometimes your own, sometimes trucks you've never driven. The drivers look normal enough, but their faces are blank, reflections of you without warmth, without humor. Somewhere in the dream, you realize you aren't alone. Figures stand along the shoulder, shadows tall and patient. They never speak, but they move in sync with your heartbeat. You glance away for a second, blink too long, and when you look back, the shadows have shifted closer. Every trucker I've met who's driven long nights reports the same dream. Subtle differences at first. Fog thicker, rain heavier, mirrors that don't reflect anything familiar, but the end is identical. You reach a junction that wasn't on any map. Stop signs flicker. Traffic lights wink like stars. And just as you try to navigate it, the road opens beneath you, swallowing the cab whole, leaving nothing but emptiness behind. The fear isn't in the crash. It's in the realization that sleep, the one place meant for safety, has become surveillance. The dream copies the road. It knows every turn, every pause, every hesitation. Each night it rewrites itself, evolving with drivers who dare close their eyes for a moment too long. Some swear the dream leaves marks. Tracks in the mind you can't explain. A memory that isn't yours. Anxiety that lingers past sunrise. One thing is consistent. The road remembers, and the dream carries those memories, reshaping them into lessons for the next driver who drifts. I've woken from it countless times, heart racing, hands sweaty, convinced I was steering into a trap I could see but never escape. And yet, I drive again, because the dream teaches the same lesson every time. The road doesn't care who you are. It cares that you remember, that you fear, that you sleep just long enough to carry the knowledge forward. And now, after years of nights and dreams, I realize it's not just about sleep. It's about confessing to someone awake, someone listening. Because once you tell, the road knows you're aware, and awareness changes everything. I've driven more miles than I can count, yet this confession makes me feel like I'm finally being followed in ways I can't outrun. Every story I've shared, every quiet warning whispered into this microphone, every hitchhiker, mile marker, shadow, and town, they're not just memories anymore. They're awake. And now, because I spoke, the road is awake with them. I used to think the road was a backdrop, a neutral surface for tires and trucks. I was wrong. The road listens. It catalogs patterns. It remembers the restless, the curious, the cautious, the careless. And it feeds on attention. The more you watch it, the more it watches back. I've realized, painfully, that sharing these experiences gives it strength. Names, habits, fears, my words are fuel. Last night, I drove a stretch I knew well. Headlights cut through mist like knives. For a moment, Everything was normal. Then the markers shifted. Shadows paused at corners they never stood at before. The trees leaned inward. My own reflection appeared in the mirrors before I knew I'd looked. Someone, or something, was waving, just slightly, as if acknowledging my confession that I caught my reflection in the side mirror and froze. That's why I'm quitting. Not because of fear, exactly. Fear is easy, but because I understand now. The road does not forgive observation. The road does not forget. It collects, shapes, and waits patiently for the next mile, the next exit, the next confession. Driving into it blind is a choice. Driving into it aware is complicity. So I'm stepping off. I'm handing the wheel to someone else, silently hoping they don't listen, hoping they don't read, hoping the patterns skip them. But if you are listening now, if my words are in your mind as you drive tonight, consider this a warning. You've already made yourself visible. You're on its map. Every shadow, every whisper, every moment of curiosity is noted. The road never forgets. And now, it knows you are awake that if you're listening while driving, don't check your mirrors. Just let the headlights cut through the dark, the tires hum, and the road stretch before you like it always does. Some things are easier to notice when you don't look directly. I've shared 13 stories tonight. Some you may have heard in fragments, some are new, and some, if you're paying close attention, might feel familiar, almost too familiar. Maybe you've noticed shadows standing just beyond the headlights. Maybe a mile marker didn't add up, or a CB chatter said your name when no one should have known it. The road is full of rules, unspoken and unwritten, whispered between truckers and travelers, passed along quietly to anyone willing to listen. Some are cautionary, some are survival, and some are invitations. I want to hear from you. Have you noticed patterns the highway shouldn't have? A light that moved wrong? A figure that shouldn't exist? Share the rules you've heard, the signs you've seen. Leave your theories, your experiences, your warnings for others who might be driving alone tonight. Every story adds another layer to the memory the road collects. Remember, some roads remember who listened. Some never forget the ones who speak aloud. Thank you for staying till the end, and for listening when the world is quiet. If any part of this story felt familiar, you're not alone. Many people hear these stories, but few admit it. If you have your own experiences or rules you've heard about the road, share them in the comments. And until next time, drive safe, sleep easy, and don't forget to check your mirrors.